Okay, so Hyperday1 was suggesting that we should pause our game once we toggle help. So right now, toggling help, you can still play around it. So we're going to be implementing that today, which shouldn't be difficult. And then ViperJ also suggested we add a little attract mode, which I had to look up. I didn't know what that meant, but it's like a little, you know, a little screen where they kind of have some animation or explain some rules on the screen here while you wait. Because right now it's just this, but we can add some fancy stuff to this to make it a little more pleasant, I guess. So let's see if we can tackle those two things today. We'll see. The pause should be easy enough. All we have to do is toggle our update in our play state to be whether or not help toggle is off. So right here. This is like a fancy, not even fancy, just an easy way of swapping this variable every time H is pressed. So help toggle is either on or off. So we need to just make it so that our main update here only happens, we only update all this stuff if help toggle is off. So if not help toggle. So this is all the update stuff. Okay, let's just see if it's as simple as saying if not help toggle. Not what I wanted. Not help toggle. Then we're gonna do all this stuff. And we need to go to the very bottom of our update function here, which is where? Is this? There's our render function. Okay, so this is where we need the end for the if not help toggle. So we only update that stuff. Gosh, this is gonna be a better way to do this. How do we get all this stuff easier than this? But we're only going to do all that updating if help toggle's not on. So everything should kind of pause if help toggle is on. Gosh, we still got more to go. Holy crap, okay. Could be a better way to do this, but this is what we're working with. Okay, we have 3, we have 2, we have 1. So, right there. Just toggle or just indent everything. And this. There we go. Okay, let's see if that does it. So let's say we're in the air, we toggle help. Now it pauses. So it doesn't update, doesn't do any of the update logic. Oh, which includes pressing H to untoggle it. So that's just what we need to do. So if we go to our help toggle there, we need this if we're not helped toggled here. So if that's the if, here's the else. and else, and actually we can kind of combine this. We could say else if H is pressed, then go ahead. Oops. And how did I? Okay. That should do it. So if we're in the air, pressing H pauses it, stops all our update functions, and then else if it's toggle state, then if H is pressed, it will swap help state, which should de-render this and update again, which it does. Cool. So what I kind of don't like about this is you can kind of use it to do like frame perfect adjustments when you're playing like this. Which I guess is fine, because it's like if you want to try to cheese it, then go for it. But you can also see, it actually kind of helps for debugging too, because we can kind of see what things are doing, kind of pausing it frame by frame. So that is kind of cool. Okay, well, so there's one thing. We got the pause mode activated. Let's see if we can implement a little attract mode. Now, the original has an attract mode. We can take a look at that real quick. I don't want to do something super heavy. Like, I don't want to do a bunch of AI for it to make it really fancy and interesting and all-inclusive, I guess. I just want to do like a simple little, they strut across screen and they say what their names are, kind of like Pac-Man, like Inky, Blinky, and Clyde or whatever. So just like this. So this is what the original is. I don't want to do it this. I don't want to do it this. That is really handy though. It's just that I need to move on. I've been making this game for 2 years. I don't want to spend too much time redoing this. So I think I'm just going to have them strut across screen like this. So they can say, hey, Bounder 500, Hunter 750, Shadowlord 1500, something like that. Have them strut across screen like that. I don't want them to jump. I don't want to do eggs and hatching and jockeys and all that stuff. I'm just going to kind of have them strut across screen, I think. So nothing too fancy, but I think it is a good idea to kind of have something like that. Just another kind of little flourish we can do. So how do we go about doing that? Well, we need our title screen state here. So in our title screen state, we need to move some stuff around. I think the instructions should now blink at the very top. We can make our JAWS font smaller, higher up, so that we can have room for little stuff. So what we can do is we can either make... Actually, yeah, I'm kind of thinking maybe we make a whole other game state. We've got two options. We can have the attract mode play in this title screen state and kind of shift everything so that after a certain amount of time it just starts with that animation. Or we can make another state. So like what we have right now is the title screen state, but then we can make the attract mode state, which will get rid of jobs and then kind of do the animation from there. But I don't really like that because then people don't know, well, to like hit enter to start or to select mode. or anything, it gets a little muddy to switch state back to touchscreen state and then back to actually starting the game. So I'm kind of thinking we just do the touchscreen state here. Do our track mode in the title screen state. I think that's what we're going to do. So where do we even start? Well, let's get our flashing instructions to be, let's move everything up. So all this can kind of be top justified, and then we'll worry about what things look like. And we also need to render our ground. So right now we're not rendering the score or the ground, just the little platform and the lava bubbles. I like the lava bubbles are going automatically, that's cool. But then we can have the characters kind of strut across screen. So let's shrink, let's just scoot everything up and see how that looks. So where is our title? Right here. Right now, our y is virtual height divided by 2 minus 14. So what if we just divide this by 5? Let's see what that gets us. Okay. Joust is higher. Let's move our 1-player and 2-player up. So 1-player, 2-player. Let's just do the same thing. We just divide by 5 instead. And then 2-player. And I'm doing a little drop shadow. So I'm rendering every text twice. See how there's like blue underneath it? So I render the blue first, and then I render the white a little up and a little left at the blue to give it that kind of drop shadow effect. So now we can kind of scoot the flashing up, and then that'll give us room to put the little attract mode underneath it. So let's move our flashing. This is our flashing start instructions, and mode select instructions is what we're calling it. So what if we minus it by 250? Let's see what that gets us. Oops. It's not flashing. I don't know where it is. Might be too high because the virtual resolution is only like 140 pixels. There we go. So we need to scoot it down maybe 10 more pixels. So maybe -1, let's just say 20 pixels, 130. We'll see if that's a decent placement. Yeah, should it be dead center? I don't really know. It's a bit much. And we can't really do the pixel font any smaller than this, I don't think. Maybe on the top. Maybe right above Joust, because it just looks weird in the middle like that, I think. Let's see what that gets us. Actually, yeah, why don't we just say that this is like, oops, 10 pixels down or something. And we'll go here, maybe 10 pixels down. So let's see what that looks like. Okay. Yeah, maybe a little more, maybe 15 pixels down. Or, actually, that looks good for that. We can just scoot everything else up just a bit more. Yeah. Okay, I think I like that. Let's just scoot Joust and the player select stuff up maybe 10 pixels. So we'll go to here instead of plus 30, we're going plus 20. And then in our plus 20, and then our large font instead of, oh god, and then this is where it gets nasty. We'll make this prettier once we get the right. We wanted to scoot it up, what, 10? Well, so I guess that would mean 4 and 6 instead. So, ooh, not right. We didn't scoot Joust up like we thought we would. Virtual height. Oh, we want to do one higher than that, so that should be it. There we go. Okay. Not quite 10. I think we need to scoot it down just a bit. 5 pixels down, so let's do minus 21 and minus 19. And then also scoot 1 and 2 player down, maybe another, or yeah, let's just do 3 pixels down for those ones, and we'll see how that looks. Okay. Yeah. That's kind of cool. Okay, so now we have room to draw the ground there, and then for stuff to kind of strut across the bottom. So we need our ground platform like we have here. So we can do this the lazy way and go to our ground, draw ground at top level. It's just a rectangle that is this color at a ground platform X, which is defined where? Right here. So we need a ground platform. So we need this. So we'll go, where is our title screen state that we don't have in our harpoon? We'll add it to harpoons. We've got it right there. And we need to do a couple things in the render. Before we render the ground platform, we need to render the actual ground. So there's the ground. We'll actually take this. This is ground platform, and this is the ground. And we need to give us the object. So right here, here's our instantiation of the ground platform, and we can give it here in our title screen state. So now we can reference this thing, and we're drawing it based on a player.width, which isn't instantiated yet, so we can just hard code this in. If we go to our player class, which is an ostrich, because player is the instantiation of the ostrich object, so we can see, we just have to see what width is passed in our initialization. So we can see player 1 right here. So there's x, y, width, and height. So the width is 16. So this would be a minus 16. Oh. Okay. And then those are constants we have access to. And then we need to put a 16 here too. Now we should have ground. Title screen state 11. That was the wrong spot, dude. We need to undo that. Okay. We need to go to our title screen state. This is where we need that 16, so we can put 16. Okay. And then 16. Now we got the ground there. So now we just need to put our little instantiations of characters. So let's start by drawing, instantiating a vulture on the very left, or not a vulture, a ostrich on the very left, with the player 1 attribute for the skin, and then we'll, actually, yeah, we can have them strut, and have the normal ostrich will be called player 1, the player 2 ostrich will be called player 2, and then the hunter will be called hunter, bounder, and have them strut across screen with those points, and then just have that kind of on a loop. So let's do that. Let's see what our instantiation of our ostrich is off the bat. We've got a couple of different things here. In the instantiation, we actually pass in 3 arguments for the buttons that are going to control the character. So we don't want our character to be controllable, which is default to our ostrich class. So since we want a uncontrollable AI ostrich, we have to add that logic in, because right now it's, I mean, unless we pass in like, yeah, we can pass in like null keys as those arguments, so that those keys don't do anything, I guess. We have to experiment with that, but for right now, let's just get ourselves an ostrich on the screen for our attract mode. So we'll put in our init, in our title screen state. Now look at all these parameters we give, right? So like, what are all these? We can check. We've got an X, a Y, a width and a height, a platform spawn Y, which is the height of the platform that it's going to be spawning at, which we don't really need for this case. A player number, that determines the skin right here. So player number getting 1 gives the player atlas, player 1 atlas, and then player 2 gets the player 2 atlas. So our platform spawn Y is what is like the Y value we give, so that it knows, okay, if it's there, that's where it starts, and then it needs to rise up because it's spawning. We don't need to do that. So I think what we need to do is we can give it a platform spawn Y of whatever our normal Y is, but then just say, we can say, hey, we're not spawning, so don't go ahead and rise us. Because I believe our platform spawn Y modifies our Y. Yeah, so platform spawn Y, if our Y is smaller than that platform Y, we're gonna raise. So I think what we need to do is these 2 things. We need to set our spawning to false and our grounded to true once we instantiate us. So we give ourselves this, and we can't do self, we've got to do the actual object, and instead of calling it player 1, we should call it attract mode player 1, something like that. And then we can say attract mode player 1 spawning is false, and our attract mode grounded is true. Then our spawn Y, X, Y, width, height, spawn Y. We can say, oh wow, not what I wanted. Right here. We can just give ourselves that same Y, which is going to be the ground Y minus our self height, which is 24. So our ground platform is virtual height minus the ground offset. So we need virtual height minus the ground offset. What is going on? Minus a 24 for the height of an ostrich, so we're not spawning player 1 for a player 1 skin, and then a Y virtual height offset. I believe this is also minus 24. And then X, let's just start us off at 0. So, I don't see us. Because we're not rendering us. So, we need to render attract mode player 1. So, in our render function down here, after, well, I don't know what render order we should choose. It doesn't. I guess we'll do it before the lava. Say attract mode renders, and we'll put attract mode player 1 render. And now we've got one. Now this is the it's taking the sprite of the invincible, or the temporary safety rather, and we're not updating it, so it's doing nothing. So I wonder if we update attract mode player 1, if we'll get that blue to flash, and then we know we just need to make us not invincible, not temporary safety is what we need to do. So we would say attract mode here and attract mode player 1. We need to update it at the time, and then after that it should be flashing because it's still in temporary safety mode, which excuse me. What do we do? So that renders fine. It's that when we try to update it, it says bad argument 1 in ostrich 244. So let's see what that is. We can say 244. Oh, we're not. I think we need our self ground to be a ground platform, which. What we do, we don't need gravity because they're not going to be jumping. We don't need jumping. So the way this is working is that we apply gravity unless the thing beneath it is a platform, and then we negate gravity essentially. But we're going to check grounded with a platform. So what is our... Oh, because there's no platform. So we just need to give our... We just need a collidable platforms table, which... Yeah, see, I don't want to have to do anything like this, because we don't want to screw with any of this. I believe collidable platforms is only is a I believe collidable platforms is a global table in our play state. So I guess we can give ourselves collidable platforms and just give it the one ground platform. Just kind of sucks we have to do that. Yeah. Now we actually don't have our ground platform as a... It's not an actual platform. We might need to add that. Okay, so let's just see if we give it a collidable platform table of all these platforms. The ground platform is not in there, but I'm thinking that that's not what I wanted. I'm thinking that this will just make us fall through the ground. I don't know if that's the case. Let's say we minus 100. Huh. Let's just, if we give it nothing here, does that still crash? No, and we're not even showing up anymore. Why would that dictate whether or not we're even rendering? Table expected got nil. Okay, well let's give ourselves... Oh, we actually have a ground platform object, so that will become our platform. And we're still not rendering. Where are we? Why? We're updating. I think, no. I think we need to be also not temporary safety. Let's go, you know, hardcore print debugging here. We're gonna go load.graphics .print, and we're gonna print our X position, and we're gonna concatenate that with our track mode player 1's X, so we can see if we're even where we're supposed to be. And we go to 0 and 40. Yeah. Okay, well we do have an X. I'm wondering about our Y. Y is 180. So why are we not rendering? Does it have something to do with... Has something to do with update, because if we don't update, it's fine. If we don't update, we render at the right spot. So what's going on? Let's just take a look at our variables here. Make sure nothing is instantiated at a wildly wrong thing. Oh, we might need this weird. Let's do temporary safety false. We've got grounded true. Okay, beginning spawn. Might be something to do with beginning spawn. And so we'll turn off temporary safety. Oh God, my touch typing is not so great. Okay, so we're not that blue color anymore. But as soon as we update, we disappear, right? Oh, we're there now, so it was temporary safety. Okay, so we're here. So now that we're updating, we should be able to... Let's go down here. We'll put this as a Y. And we'll also just set the color so it doesn't flash. Left dot graphics. You know what? I'll just do this. Okay. So let's make him strut across screen. So what we've got to do is update its DX in addition. Let's give it 1 and see what that looks like. Too fast. Let's give it a 0.3. That's like a bit too slow. Yeah. I like that. We don't want the sound, right? So, not on the menu like this. So, I forget how we do the sound. Is it slam? Or TE sound? I think we do use slam, which should be a set volume. Which might be under the ostrich class. No? Where do we do volume? Oh, we set it in main actually. Yeah, we do it right here. Set volume. So what we can do is have to turn our volume back on. So we need our left step and our right step to both be volume 0, and then we need to set it back to 1 upon our play state. So what we'll do is in our play state, we'll make sure that we'll just do it at the bottom here. We'll make sure that our left step and our right step are both turned on. Oh God. Okay, and then we want to mute these at the beginning of our title screen state. So here we'll put 0. And hopefully that'll mute it at the title screen. Yes. And then hopefully by the time we get here, we can have steps back. Yes. Cool. So now we've got a little birdie going across the screen. So now right now, we'll just keep going. We'll do the D and set it. We don't need to keep track of, oh yeah. Well, I guess it's on the loop there because of the way the class is set up. But I want to put the X on here, I think, instead of the Y. cool. So once our x gets greater than the virtual width, we need to deinstantiate, and we need to only put this guy on after a certain amount of time, right, for like the attract mode. So let's test writing a little detailed description here for we want to say player 1, right? And we want to put player 1 at, right now, let's put it at that attract mode, player 1's x and y. So like literally exactly where that is being drawn, we're going to draw this text. X and Y, that should be all we need. So I don't want it at the same exact location. I want it to be a little to the right. Or 16y, so let's just say 16. Actually, we can get away with a little less because of the shape of it. And then our y can be the top, maybe shift it up just a couple pixels. And then, let's see that. Yeah. Yeah. So we need x a little more to the right and y a little higher. So we can say this is -10 and this is 18. Nice. So something like that. Now we can have little variables. We can have little variables to give us this set offset for these instructions, because we need to print those out for everything, for like the 100 pounder and all that. So we can do this plus, maybe we just make it plus 20, just make it nice and round. Plus 20 and then -10. So let's put these into variables now, because if I don't do that and I want to change it, I'm going to be not so happy. So let's put these in our constants, which we don't have in our harpoon. So we'll go constants, we'll harpoon it, and then we'll go do our attract mode text offset. So like okay, this was a -10, and this was a +20, right? And what that allows us to do is, instead of this +20, we're going to add attract mode x, and then instead of a -10, we actually say plus attract mode y. Now, we can not only adjust those values, but we can use those values to render that on everything. So the next thing to do is to start it off screen. And we need to start it enough off screen where the player 1 doesn't get cut off. So like the player 1 will creep on screen instead of appear on screen like it did just there. So we need to give our X instantiation much more left. And we can do this in a sneaky way where they're actually instantiated but not rendered on screen just yet, but oh, I want to try jumping too. That's what I need to try. So let's just say our X is -100, and that'll give it, oops, did I not? Oh, -100, not +100. Oh, yeah, see, that's exactly what I don't want, is the ability to play the game with it like that. So how do we negate that input? We are given these values. So I don't know if you can pass in null. Can you pass in null? Nil. String expected. I mean, we give it a string of none. Invalid key constant doesn't map to anything. Okay, so I don't know what to do with this. I know one way we could do it. We just go and say that there's a little toggle called attract mode, and if it's booted with the attract mode parameter, don't update any of the key stuff. I don't want to do that. I want to do it. Don't want to do that. But it's native to the class of ostrich, so I don't know what to do. We do weird ass like I don't want to do any key that someone can actually press that would actually do something. So maybe if I put escape, which would exit the game. Really? Okay. Then escape will exit it anyway, so that's a good compromise there. So I don't have to change anything in that class, and I don't have to worry about anyone potentially accidentally jumping or moving, because escape will just escape instead of move the character. So we want our ground to actually be a lot longer than this. So let's just give ourselves a ground starting at -200, and our width is going to be virtual width plus 200 at least. We can give ourselves a bit more leeway. Let's just say 300. So now it shouldn't jump, which it doesn't, but we need to move our, why does X, Y? It doesn't seem to be going very far off screen. Why is it doing that? Oh, I know why it's doing that. I know why. So what's happening is the looping logic. So I'm saying in my looping logic, you know, if our X is past the left side of the screen, we're supposed to loop it to the right. So we're modifying our X position based on where it is. So I can't just put it at -400 because look at our X is still -11 by that point, because I clamp it, so it can't do that. So we can either man, this sucks. We can't really take it out of our ostrich class. What do I call it? Looping? Yeah. So right there, if our X is smaller than the left side of the screen, we're setting our X to be the width. So what I'm going to do is say, if not attract mode, then go ahead and do all this stuff. And then what I gotta do is add an attract mode variable that instantiates to false, so that this is the default method. So what we'll do is go say attract self-attract mode. Let's do a self-attract mode. So self-attract mode gets false naturally. So when we instantiate the real game, it'll update and loop as normal. But we want it to be attract mode if we're in attract mode, so we will change our attract mode player1 dot attract mode to be true in this instance, which should allow us to do an X that is smaller than just the left side of the screen. So let's go back to 100 and see. Why? It still resets it. We want an X bigger than negative self-width. Attract mode true, which means our ostrich. Huh. If not attract mode, do this. And attract mode starts false. Let me just see if I change this to true, if it changes anything. No. What is going on? Do we do another loop somewhere? No? Where do we modify our X? That this could be happening at. I don't know what's going on. Oh? No. I don't know where we're modifying this X and overriding it. So, I'm curious if after I do this, let's say we default to attract mode false. And then after we instantiate, what if we just modify the X one more time to try to negate whatever might be happening? And we say minus 100. Does it become a minus 100? No, it doesn't. So something's going on in the update function that is pushing our X to be negative self-width. Let's print up the attract mode and make sure that it is in fact true. Okay. It is attract mode, so we shouldn't do that looping. Let's see if we loop here. We do loop. We shouldn't be looping. Because attract mode is true, and that means we shouldn't be looping. Did we not save this? Because our looping behavior is only if we're not attract mode. Right? If not attract mode. Oh, self-attract mode. Okay, that should be it. Yes. Yes. So now we crawl on screen. And now we shouldn't loop. There we go. So now player 1 doesn't just appear there, but player 1 walks on the screen like that. And then we need to deinstantiate, because if we just let this play, look at our X. Our X just keeps growing and growing and growing, and we continue to do so. So, how we do this in our game is we send them to the graveyard and make them dead or whatever, right? So, if they're dead, they don't update their X. So, once our X becomes greater than the virtual width, we need to graveyard true, and then that should fix it. So, here. I like the 100, the minus 100 on there. So let's go ahead and say in our update function, we need a test for when our attract mode ends, or when our, right here. Where's our update? Why? Okay, this needs to not be there. Where's our update? There. Okay. So in our update, we will say, or before we do our update, we need to say if our, what do we need to say? I guess we can do it before or after. If our attract mode player 1 dot x is greater than the virtual width of our screen, then we need to trigger the graveyard, which will cease updating. Dot graveyard gets true. Okay. That should deinstantiate it. So like, let's look at the X by the time it gets to the right side. By the time its X goes off screen, we should become X is like negative 20 or whatever graveyard is. Nice. So we're no longer updating that position, and it just walks off and stops. So that's good. Okay. So we need to do the next ones now. It's gonna suck for the vultures in the sense that we gotta do another attract mode, another self.attract mode, and only do the looping if not self-attract mode for the vultures as well. But player 2 should be easy because we just do the same thing. So we need, what's cool is we can copy most of this and say, hey, our attract mode player 2 object now gets a maybe minus 400 start point, all that same stuff, just with the 2-player skin. And then make sure we're not spawning, make sure we're grounded, make sure we're not temporary safety, give us a DX, become attract mode. And I think we actually need this anymore. Now that we figured that out. So let's do that. So now we need to update attract mode player 2 and render attract mode player 2. So let's go find our, oh, let's see this if, ooh, yeah, okay. We need to do the same thing for player 2. So we need to deinstantiate it if player 2 is passed. We'll write a function for this, so we're not just repeating ourselves like this, but let's see. We need to give it we're not rendering the text for player 2, but player 2 should come strutting out soon. Maybe not. We're not rendering player 2, which is why. So let's make sure we're rendering player 2. Right here. We'll make sure we render player 2. And then we want to also set. Oops. What should I do? Player 2. Might be too much, but they shouldn't come on right away, I don't think. So let's see if player 2 stumbles in right after player 1. 100 pixels is probably too much. Come on. No, player 2. Why? Let's attract mode player 2, attract mode player 2. We're rendering attract mode player 2. We're updating attract mode player 2. And we're instantiating, oops, attract mode player 2. So why? Let's change this to 0. Okay, so there's 2. So why is it that we weren't doing that? Player 2's on there. Where is our text? Player 2. Oh. Did I save this? Why? I thought I for sure did that. Okay. So why? Okay, minus 50. Let's do minus 80. I just want them to come on the screen fairly fast, just for testing purposes. Okay, not right. Oh, well, actually, yeah, right. They're just too close. So let's say minus 100. Oop. Let's say minus 100. Player 1, player 2, we need more spaced out. There we go. Okay. Cool. Now those should both deinstantiate. At least the first one does. We can test the other one, but I kind of trust it because we didn't forget it. So that's negative 50. This should be negative 250. Let's give them 200 pixel buffer, and we want to start at minus 100. So 200 pixel buffer. Starting at 100 gets us a negative 300 start. Now we can We could do something so that it doesn't instantiate until a certain timer, and we don't have to keep track of them. Oh, come on. Why does player 2 stop if it's so far off? Okay, we might have to do what I was just talking about. I don't get why if player 2 is more than negative 300, it like doesn't spawn. But minus 250 is fine, right? Come on, player 2. No? Why? All we changed was the X, no? This was working at... What did we change, man? Oh, there he is. Why does he disappear if I put him far in the back? My only... I don't know. I don't know why. Because minus 300, it doesn't even spawn. Or does he? I don't get why he doesn't spawn with a more than 250-ish. So what we might need to do, because I think the X updating is just getting weird the further back it is. So I'm thinking we can just have a timer to instantiate it. And we instantiate each one at the X position of our desired whatever. So we'll wait to do this, and we'll wait to do this, oops, until, I like the 100, I think I like the 100, actually, let's make sure the minus 50 doesn't start with player 1 on screen. What happened? Not what I wanted. All we have to do, okay, I think 100 is the sweet spot. So what we'll do is actually put this into our constants. And we'll say, text offset, track mode text offset gets minus 100, so that we will be able to put our track mode text offset here. Now we want to spawn this after a certain timer has passed. So we'll say attract mode player 1 timer gets 0. Our update will become attract mode player 1 timer gets attract mode player 1 timer plus our delta time. And then if our attract mode player 1 timer is greater than 10, go ahead. Let's just do 1 for now. Do our instantiation, which I deleted. Shit. Shit. This is what I need. I'll put it here. We'll say attract. What is it? God dang it. We just did it. Attract mode player 1 timer. Yeah, it's 0. in our update, we say attract mode player 1 timer gets itself plus our delta time, and then if our attract mode timer is greater than, let's say 1, then we want to spawn all of our player 1, and then we want to stop this timer. So if it's greater than 1, go ahead and do this. And then what I'm going to do is set our timer to be -1. And if I'm going to only, if our attract mode, if our attract mode timer is greater than or equal to 0, not O. If it's greater than 0, we're going to go ahead and update it. So when we instantiate, we're 0, so it should start off by counting up. But come on, dude, where's underscore? Huh. Okay. So we start off, we instantiate at 0. If our timer is greater than or equal to 0, we're going to go ahead and increment the timer. As soon as we pass that timer threshold of, right now it's just 1. So after 1 second, we'll spawn our ostrich, but we only want to do that once. So that's why we set our attract mode player timer to -1, because at that point, -1 is smaller than 0, and we won't increment our timer anymore. So that should give us what's crashing? No value. Attempt to index on title screen 80. It's always that error. Title 80. Oh, okay. We can't update something that doesn't exist. So I guess we only update it if our timer is 0. I don't know a better way to do this right now, but if our track mode player 1 timer is equal to -1, and go ahead and update because we have that. Now I don't think this will actually work. I think it'll still crash. Yeah, it'll still crash. We can't do that because it's interpreted. I don't think we can do that. So what do? We can't update something that doesn't exist, so I'll tell you what. What we gotta do is make it exist and just give it graveyard. Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll instantiate it in our init, and then we'll just graveyard it right off the bat. Nice. And then 1 second goes and then it starts. So now if we change that to more than 1 second, let's say 5 seconds, it'll become, attract mode false for 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, and we go on screen. So player 2 actually, yeah, player 2's throwing us off. But we need to do the same thing with player 2. So now we can kind of have a timer offset, and then we don't actually instantiate it until the timer hits, and then we don't have that. Hopefully we won't have that error of player 2 not being able to spawn because the X is so far to the left. So I don't know what exactly was going wrong with that, but I think it's because it so far to the left. I don't know why. So we'll do just like we put player 1 down there, we need to put player 2 down here. We'll say if our attract mode player 2 timer is greater than or equal to 0, then go ahead and attract mode player 2 timer gets attract mode player 2 timer plus delta time, and we'll go actually make this bigger too. And then we need to give ourselves the same timer but for 2, and then we need to only spawn us if our attract mode player 2 timer is greater than, let's say, 10 seconds. Well, let's do 1 and 5. So we'll say, hey, greater than 1 second, wait 4 seconds, then if this one is greater than 5, then we'll go ahead and spawn that boy, which okay. And as long as we've got, oh yeah, we need to reset the timer also so that we don't keep incrementing it. And then as long as we initialize the graveyard, which we don't, or ourselves, we should be working. So let's do that. There we go. Then we'll put attract mode player 2 dot graveyard gets true. So now we should hopefully have player 1 at 1 second in, and then player 2 at 5 seconds in. Damn it, dude. Oh! Yeah. Okay. So maybe a 4-second difference. See, and I don't like that it renders those. If, let's just do this, if not graveyard. No. Chat. See. Because this renders for like 1 frame, so. I don't want a messy fix for that, but I can only think of a messy fix for that. Because we are spawning. Oh, I know. When we spawn these guys, let's just spawn them at the graveyard X and Y so we don't see that. So we'll just go 20 in -20 and then -20. And then that should fix that. Nice. Cool. Nice. Okay, so we got player 1, we've got 4 seconds till player 2. Maybe a little bit sooner. Maybe a little bit sooner. Not quite 1 whole second sooner, but maybe 1 and then 3.5. Or let's see what 3 looks like. Oh, did you see it mess up again? Okay. Okay, cool. Nice. That's a good. I think that's good. Okay, cool. Okay, so that was a little easier than the vultures are going to be, because the vultures need that updated if attract mode don't loop the screen logic. But now that we've built out, I don't like that we have to do it so ugly here with the timer and everything. But I think the title screen state can afford to be a little bloated just because all it's doing is rendering a couple characters to screen. So let's see if we can get Yeah, let's see if we can get our vultures spawning just like this. So let's take a quick look at what we did in our ostrich class for the looping. We say, if not self-attract mode, go ahead and do the looping. And that means that we start our attract mode false. So it defaults to that, and then we have to overwrite that in the init of our title screen state. So we start off as false. So we'll have to do that for our vultures also, which we don't have in harpoon. So we'll harpoon it. We'll give ourselves a self.attract mode that gets false. Now let's find a loop. And we need to do the same thing where we say, if not self.attract mode. Then we're going to go ahead and default to our looping behavior. And then, that really wasn't hard at all. We'll go to our title screen state and do the same thing except with a vulture instantiation. So I believe the instantiations are the same in terms of parameters. We can double check real quick. Not what I wanted. XY, width, height, platform spawn, DX, index, spawn delay. Okay, no, they are different. So, oh yeah, there's more stuff. That sucks. Okay, we have to do a little more crap to get vultures working, but it's not going to be that bad. We just have to know what we're doing, which shouldn't be that bad since we made the game. So hopefully we can get this done today and then move on. Let's see. Okay, so what we want to do is in our title screen state, we're going to be instantiating the vultures just like this. So for right now, I think I want to just give these timers more time. I'll just add a 0 to the end so that we aren't rendering those guys when I'm trying to see my vulture spawns. So we'll do the same sort of deal where we need to instantiate this. I'm gonna forget. I need to snag the prototype so I can know what I'm doing. So what we need to do is let's just give ourselves a bounder. So attract mode bounder is what we're gonna call it. We'll say attract mode bounder gets a vulture object instantiation that takes in an X, a Y, a width, and a height. For now, we'll do the same X, Y, width, and height. Well, let's do a positive X so we can see if it's on screen, and then a Y of, I believe, the same thing, and a width of the same things as well. And then here's where it's different. Platform spawn. Platform spawn is a what? A platform object? Platform spawn. Platform spawn is just whatever we pass in, whatever table we pass in gets assigned to this platform spawn. Why? What do we do with that? I mean, that's kind of the same as the other thing, right? Yeah. So we want that just to be the normal Y, and then we need to be not spawning, similar to our vulture. So similar to our ostrich. So we can go ahead and say X, Y, width, height, platform spawn Y is going to be our Y. and we'll just overwrite our spawning field. DX, let's go ahead and give it the same DX. We actually have to spawn it with a DX, which is kind of cool. Because the parameter, they can get faster, unlike the players that are controlled by the arrow keys or the other keys. What was it? What was our DX? Point something? 0.4. So let's give it the 0.4. And then in index, this is what sucks, because we need a table of vultures, and then we're going to get that indexing a nil error unless we instantiate and graveyard it right away. So we can say that this is just going to be index of 1. What do we do, though? I'm curious what we do with that index. Self.index. So what do we do with this self.index? We set a seed to jump based off of it. Is that all we do? Okay, so that shouldn't matter. All we need the index for is... Oh, we do this twice. We don't need this. All we do the index for is setting the random seed for jumping, so... we need to not jump for that. Yeah, this is going to be a problem. We need to do something with this. Because self.index is a bad thing to have called this, because even though we're passing in the index to be the random seed so that every vulture gets a different seed for its time between jumps. So if time between jumps is smaller than 0, we're going to go ahead and become jumped. Let's see. I think we only want to do the time between jumps decrement if we're not self.attract mode. So this is what I didn't want to do, was mess with the update function too much for these, but it's not too bad. So if self.attract mode, and this is partly why I didn't want to do the whole fully fledged attract mode, just because I'd have to probably make a different class, because I don't want to be muddying up my normal vulture class logic with attract mode logic, which I have to kind of manually overwrite like this in order for it to work. But just doing a simple kind of strut across screen I think will be okay. If not self-attract mode, then go ahead and do your time between jumps. Decrement. So now, time between jumps, we should start at 0, I believe. Well, let's see. Yeah, we start at 0. So that shouldn't decrement, because we are not... it shouldn't get our just jump, because we're not smaller than 0, we're equal to 0. So we shouldn't decrement, and we shouldn't trigger the jump now, which is good for our attract mode vulture. So we've got XY with height, platform spawn line, DX, and index, which doesn't even matter. But we need to give it to it, and then a spawn delay. Let's take a look at our spawn delay. Which spawn delay is greater than 0, we're going to decrement. Now our spawn delay smaller than 0 makes us in the graveyard. Okay, so if we give a negative value to this, it'll send us to the graveyard immediately. And oh wait, spawning gets true. Okay. Let's give us a negative spawn delay, and then we'll make sure we overwrite our self-spawning to be false. And or y next. Oh, right here it's false. Okay, never mind, never mind. Well, if we give it 0, it would be, it would not update anything because we only have less than or greater than, no greater than or equal to. So if we spawn delay to 0, none of this logic should apply. And then, yeah, just like we do it here. Okay. So yeah, we'll give it a 0, and then we'll just manually overwrite the fields that we need, and then hopefully we're in business. So spawn delay 0. Okay. Attract mode bounder is a vulture instantiation. We're going to go ahead and send it to the graveyard. Then we got to do two things, which is update it and render it, but also do this timer. So we will do a attract mode bounder. Oopsie. Attract mode bounder. Timer gets 0. Oops. Attract mode bounder timer is 0, and then we need to do the timer logic. So we'll say attract mode bounder timer. And then okay. Then let's go ahead and do our if attract mode bounder timer greater than, for now, oops, I will do greater than, oh, come on dude, greater than 1, then we're going to go ahead and spawn our guy. So we're going to reinstantiate this guy now. And we have to do that so we don't index that nil value because it's interpreted. We can't update an object that doesn't exist. So attract mode bounder will now get, let's reinstantiate it, right? So attract mode bounder here, and then we'll and then we have to remember to do our attract mode bounder timer reset through negative here so we don't keep decrementing. And then we also need to attract mode bounder attract mode get true so that we don't loop off the side of the screen. And we still need to deinstantiate, which, are we doing that to our player 2? Graveyard 2, where do we do the player 1 deinstantiate off the side of the screen? Oh yeah, we do it right here. So we need to do this, we need to say if attract mode bounder dot x is greater than virtual width, then we're going to go ahead and kill us. Not what I wanted. Bounder dot graveyard gets true. So that should deinstantiate us when we get past the screen. We still need to update us. So we need to update with delta time. And then we need to render us. And then we need to bounder, and we'll do attract mode bounder X and attract mode bounder Y. Want to actually, this is not it. We can just turn this off. Oops. Okay. We can say, let's see if our vulture comes on. Nope. So we're not doing what? Graveyard, we're updating. Instantiating, we're doing the timer, we got the timer going. Oh, we don't. Oh no, yeah, we have a bounder, and if it's greater than or equal to 0, we're gonna go ahead and increment, and then if it's greater than 1, we're gonna go ahead. Oh, okay, so here's where we gotta do all those overrides I was talking about. So we need a bunch of stuff. Well, I don't know all we need, but I know we need attract mode bounder. You know what? Before I forget, we need to instantiate us up into the graveyard so we don't see that text on accident. And then okay, so we need, let's just take a look and make a note of all we need. We need spawn delay to be 0. We need probably, let's see, spawn delay to be 0, grounded to be true. Let's just try those and see if we're on screen. So we're going to say, hey, our spawn delay is going to go ahead. Come on. Spawn delay, it's going to be equal to 0. Is there a dot spawning field? The spawning X, what do those default to? There is a spawning. So let's say we're not spawning. What is going on with me? Okay. Let's see. I don't know what we need to do. I don't know what's getting overwritten. Oh, we need to, well, we give ourselves DX. Maybe let's just do it again, just in case. DX gets a, wait for, oh, we need it grounded, yeah. Attract mode bounder dot grounded gets true, maybe? Let's print up our X to see where we're at. We're at the graveyard, so we're not becoming ungraveyard. Well, I instantiate it at the graveyard, so that doesn't help us much. So let's go ahead and just instantiate us to... Oh, that is not where we're here. Let's do this to -40. This should switch to -20 because we're in the graveyard. So graveyard should get false, which we're not doing. So actually, we are doing once we reinstantiate it, right? Graveyard gets... Oh, we start in the graveyard. So yeah, we do have to take us out of the graveyard. So hopefully that's the last part of this. So let's say yank it. We need to go to... Oops. Okay. Here in the spawn, we need to be graveyard false. So we'll say here. Nice. Okay. So we need to reset our Y. Which I would... Oh yeah, we set our Y here. Okay. So this time we're at -20 for our X. And actually we're not -20, we're actually a attract mode text offset, because that's what we're doing. So they all start the same X off. Which is -200, so they can walk on screen without cutting off the text. And then our Y needs to be the same Y as these guys, I'm pretty sure, so we can just yank it. Okay. Come on, Bounder. Come on, Bounder. Yeah, buddy. Ooh, 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 ooh. Yeah. Okay. Cool, dude. Okay, so we got Bounder. Let's put the Bounder text, or the Bounder point worth on... I'm gonna just add these two notes real quick, which is true pause state, which we did at the beginning of the episode, and then attract mode. Thanks to Viper J1 for that suggestion. I think it was a good idea. Now, Bounder here. Bounder, what is it? Bounder 500, 50, 15. So, we'll need to give Bounder string another 500. And I'm hoping our track mode text offset will still account for that. I think we'll need to actually add more to it, but we'll see. Because we need Bounder 250, right? We need an escape character? No, we don't. Nice. So... Oh yeah, we do need it. We need a little bit more. So we need our track mode text offset to be greater. So we'll say constants, and this will be -200. It's a bit much. Let's do 125. Okay. We might need a little bit more than that. That's good. Okay. Let's see if our bounder gets deinstantiated. Let's watch that X to be -20 once it's off screen. And it is. Okay, cool. So we've got the hard work done. Now we just need to make sure we do the other two, and then we're good. It's 500, not 250. Okay. Now that we've done the bounder, the rest should be easier. We just need to update the tier for the hunter and the shadow lord so that we get the right skin, and then make sure we overwrite the DX so it doesn't go crazy fast. So then we'll get the timing right, and then we're golden. So we might want to do a loop or something to do the attract mode again after a certain amount of inactivity, but I really don't know. So let's go ahead and knock this out real quick. So in our, not in our play state, in our title screen state, we want an attract mode hunter. So we'll change this to hunter. We'll keep all the same instantiations for that graveyard initially, and we can go back to 20 now that we've debugged that. We don't need to do this because we default to the graveyard, so taking that out shouldn't change anything here. I'm gonna render those debugging help so that we can just see a bit clearer. So here. Okay. Cool. Okay. We'll get the timing right, just for now. Let's get our hunter going on. So we need a hunter timer. We need to set the hunter timer. Okay, now we need to do the spawn. So for now, I'm going to say that this is 8. This will be 1. Now we need to do one more thing, which is we'll need this to be based on the hunter timer. Why they say you shouldn't copy and paste things, because it gets hard to do stuff when you assume certain things. So look, what we can do here is highlight all this, and we can say what command S, no. Here, we highlight it, we say :S/bounder, and then we replace that with Oh, what happened? Huh? S. Matter. Oh, we do globally. Oh no. Hunter, and then we say G. Nice. And then what is that? Okay, so we've got track mode Hunter, spawn delay. We need the timer. Or we need the tier. So attract mode Hunter dot tier now gets 2. And then we overwrite the DX, so it shouldn't be fast. Then we need to update it and render it still. So we find where our update is. And we do that. And then we need to render it. We also need to deinstantiate it. It doesn't really deinstantiate, it just sends it to the graveyard. It stops updating it. Then render. Okay, and then we need to render the text. So we'll say Hunter. What's 7. Okay. Nope. 71. Okay, whatever. Come on, Hunter. Should be white. No. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, we got Hunter. Now we just need Shadow Lord. And then we need to get the timing right, and then we're good. Cool. Okay. Let's go. We need a Shadow Lord. Track mode. Shadow Lord. Cool. We need a Shadow Lord timer. We'll set timer. We'll do a substitution. Nope. Dude. Okay. Substitute. Colon. Substitute. Nope. What is it, man? Colon. Substitute slash. Enter. Why does it not do it? Why is it not getting it? Why? Okay. Whatever. So we got that. Shadow Lord timer. Need to set our Shadow Lord timer. This is cool. So we highlight that, we substitute any hunter with Shadow Lord. Then we need to update. We also need to deinstantiate. And then we update. Let's update. And then we need to render. And then we need to render the text. 15 hundo, right? Now, since this is such a long text, our text offset might not be sufficient. We'll just have to look for it. So Shadow Lord. Okay. Where are we doing our text offset here? It's in the reinstantiation. Yeah, I tried to put text offset in the reinstantiation. Okay. Let's see if our checkbox is coming out blue. Let's give us different timers so we can see. That's 8. Let's just give this 10. And then should be blue Shadow Lord. It looks like it comes on screen perfect, so nice. Oh, it's not blue. We didn't do the tier. So ooh, it's fast, it's fast. It's faster. We need to make sure we reset that DX. We do. Why is it faster? That's faster, right? We put 0.1, is it much slower? Yeah. Okay, maybe it's not faster. Ah, it seems faster. Yeah, that seems faster. Yeah, that seems faster than that guy. Oh, why are they different? Oh, I know why. I know why. I built them to have like DX modifiers. Let's take a look at the Vulture class. Now, anytime we do a DX, we have, look at this, DX times 1.5. If, yeah, we see we have, oh, we have these DX modifiers. After we do these DX modifiers, after we do these weird DX modifiers, let's go ahead and say if self dot attract mode, we're going to go ahead and overwrite our DX to just be equal to that 0.4, and that should slow us down. There we go. Okay, so now let's get the timers right. So we'll go ahead and get the first one first. So let's go ahead and make the Shadow Lord the highest timer. Right here, maybe 15. And then our timer for 1 will be 1. And this will be 4. Let's see if those 2 are working. Nope. I just saw player 2, which means we need to make sure when we instantiate player 2, we're in the graveyard, which we are. And we actually start in the graveyard, so I don't know why that matters. Right? Oh. What? It's 20 timer. Let's go ahead and say this is 1 again. Okay. Okay, player 2 needs to be a little further back. Now look at that. Look at the hunter. See how the hunter's text is kind of shaking like that? I think we need to floor some of these. So let's say that this needs to be a little further back. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, I think we need to floor this. Let's just give more space on this guy for now. Yeah, I think we need a floor our X position so it doesn't do that. We need to give the boundary a bit more space. See how it's shaking like that? We need to fix that. So I think the move is, let's give a little more time for the boundary. So maybe 2 more seconds. And then when we're rendering the text, let's say that our X is actually a math.floor of whatever that X is. And then same with all these. Let's just do the first 2 first in case it doesn't fix it. I don't like it. It looks like it added. Could be just this machine too. Okay, we need to give more space, boundary a little less space. So bounder, a little less space. So maybe 7. And then a little more space on this. Let's see. This is kind of long. That's kind of cool. Yeah. Yeah. It looks moving. Looks like. Okay. Hunter can be a little closer, like hardly any closer, and the shuttle needs to be further. So Hunter can be 15 and a half. This needs to be maybe 23. Let's see. That's cool. Okay. Hunter needs to be a little further. Okay, here we go. Player 1, cool. Player 2. So it's like as soon as they reach here, the next one should kind of come on. So we need a little more time between that boundary, I think. Well, yeah. A little more time on the boundary, a little more time on the... Let's do... I like that it's like as soon as he reaches his foot, the back of his butt here, the other one comes on now. Yeah. So the other one, the next one should be on right now. That's pretty close. A little sooner. So we can say 11. Wait. 8. So as soon as your butt hits here, the next one text starts to crawl on. So, and now. Good. And now. Good. And now, which is awful. Okay. Ooh, Pounder can afford to be a bit closer, I feel like. Oh, and then we need this one to be maybe one more second after. Okay. That looks pretty good. Oh, Hunter needs to be a bit slower. And then what we can do is reset the timers. Once the hunters despawn, we can reset all the timers so that they kind of loop and do the same thing. Nice. That's looking good. Nice. Oh, Shadow Lord a little too fast. Do 1 second, let's see. Now what we could do is mimic the first one and have it appear statically, have the text appear statically as they walk on. I kind of like that it scrolls like this. It's kind of interesting to me. That's cool. And it'd be cool to have the pterodactyl fly in, right? It'd be cool to have the pterodactyl fly in, blast in that loop. That could be cool. Let's do it. Let's do the pterodactyl. Let's see what our tarot looks like. I think we call it monster. Very easy. We instantiate in the graveyard. What does the other monster instantiation look like? Oh, here. Random tarot index. Cool. Graveyard false tarot timer. Okay, cool. So, 0, we time it. Okay. So we just have a little tarot timer here. That we need to get to be however many seconds long. Okay, I have an idea. So we can go here to state. We need to, in our update function, what we will do is say, hey, if our taro timer is greater than 0, we're going to decrement. And then by the time we decrement to 0, we can go and spawn our pterodactyl. So let's call this attract mode monster. We need to give ourselves a taro timer of 1, just so we can see what it looks like to have the taro on screen. $55. Random taro index has got to be what's messing up. So where do we do that in our play state? Random taro index, what the heck? How are we doing this? Where do we do this random taro index? Right there. Oh, and then we're not updating or rendering, so let's go ahead and do that. We need this track mode monster. We need to go to the update. And render. Title screen update. Huh? Shadow track. Delete that. Attract mode shadow lord timer. I delete that. No. So why are you mad? Attract mode shadow lord timer. Oh. I don't know when I did that, but okay. Track mode monster nil value. We need to graveyard that sucker. I think it's graveyards, that should actually be okay. Nope. Taro spot points, no value, okay. Oh. We need these. Oh, come on. Give me a break, dude. Not title screen state. No, yeah, title screen state. What are you not liking? Oh, nil value, taro spawn points. No, you're not. Unless our rando 1 and 6. Let's do rando 1 and 5. No. Taro spawn points. Why you don't like it? Why no likey? Dude, that's all I'm... What is going on? Taro spawn points, random taro index. Let's just do that. Spawn points, then index, then graveyard. So let's do that. I don't know what else would be wrong. So spawn points, then index, then graveyard. What was it? No, then random tarot index. Dude, 28. Pterodactyl, why don't you like it? Oh, dude, that's sick. Okay, so we only want this. That's awesome. Okay, so we want this to spawn. Let's test our, well, I think adding text to it like the other ones would kind of diminish. Okay, so what we're gonna do is get the timer so that it kind of flies on right as the Shadow Lord is walking off. And we'll time it so that instead of looping, we'll add a attract mode. We'll add a attract mode field to our tarot, and we'll say, hey, for attract mode, don't loop. And then we'll do the same deinstantiation if it's past the right side of the screen. And then we'll reset the timers for everybody, and then that should essentially loop our attract mode state. So let's get the timing right for that guy. Instead of a tarot timer of 1, we need a tarot timer of 26 is when the Shadow Lord starts to walk on, and it probably takes like 8 seconds. So if we 35 a tarot timer, maybe that will be good. Oh, nope. Let's see if that's good timing on it. I'll have to wait 35 seconds to see, but we should probably have printed it to the screen so we can tell how many seconds we're off by, but we'll just kind of pay attention. It is cool. This is a great idea. Okay, so let's watch for, oh, too soon. So we need like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more seconds probably. So let's do 40. Oopsie. Okay, let's do 40, and then let's test. We're gonna give our tarot object, tarot class, here, we're gonna give it a self dot, what is it? Attract mode gets false, defaults to false, okay? Now we're gonna go to where we loop, do the same old thing. Really? Where did we do the loop? Here, this is the loop. If not self.attract mode, then we're going to go ahead and default to our looping behavior. And then we'll just have to make sure attract mode gets false. No, attract mode gets true so that we don't do that when we instantiate. So title screen state, when we instantiate at the timer here, where do we do it? Right, tarot timer, it's like the first one. No? Yes. Okay, we need to do attract mode monster dot attract mode gets true, and then we need to deinstantiate once it reaches past the screen, and where do we do the deinstantiations? Here. Okay. Oh no, no, no. Attract mode monster, right? Dot X. Attract mode monster. Graveyard. Okay, so are we taking it? We take that out of the graveyard at the reinstantiation point, right? I want to move tarot to after just because it's bugging me. The first thing in our update class or function. Okay. Okay. Yeah, we take it out of the graveyard. We turn on track mode so it doesn't loop. And then we instantiate once it gets past. So, we set it to 0, so it doesn't decrement. Okay, so then we need, after this, after we redo this, we actually need to reset it and reset everything. No, not just quite yet. Actually, yeah, we can do it right here, and then the we'll actually start crawling on screen right after the pterodactyl comes, which I think is okay. We just need to reset all of our timers, which will be easy because our timers are all right here. And these ones, increment and tarot timer decrements, that's all okay. But now, whenever we hit that tarot timer limit, we're actually resetting all our timers, which should effectively and this is actually okay, yeah, okay, so that only happened once because tarot timer will be negative, then as soon as it's negative we reset it to be a positive, so then it would decrement again, so that should be it. Let's see. So I'm thinking that we'll have to see if the pterodactyl comes on right before the hunter or the shadow lords finish walking off, which I think it will. And then we have to see if the player 1 crawls back on screen right before the pterodactyl finishes flying off. So that's what we're looking for. Come on, look for the pterodactyl. Should be on any second now. Any second now, and it should be on now. Ooh, yeah. So a little sooner, a little sooner. Oh, and then we loop again. Perfect. So let's do a little sooner. A little sooner on the tarot timer. So we'll do maybe 3 seconds sooner. Let's do 37. And then when we redo our this, we need to do 37 also. Let's try it. And then I'll be getting the sound effect for the pterodactyl too, which would be fun to kind of play as soon as he flies on. Okay. Pterodactyl should come on before Shadow Lord is on the left. Oh! Yeah. Maybe Maybe a little later. Maybe 39. Okay. Alright, so we're looking for the pterodactyl flying on screen. And Shadow Lord's in the right third of the screen. So not yet, not yet, not yet, not yet, not yet. Okay, let's go. Yeah, perfect. Perfect, and then player one comes out. We can maybe use a little more time. So when we reset, let's see, the timer, it's greater than 0. We're gonna greater than or equal to 0. We're gonna add it's greater than or equal to 0. We're gonna start incrementing it. Okay. Well, yeah, we can't really add more time here. Unless we do another timer to keep track of. I think it's okay. Like, I kind of want the Shadow Lord or the pterodactyl to be completely off screen before the next guy comes on. But what we can do for that is just give every one of these like 2 more seconds. But then, let's see. If this is 1 player, 1, 2. I kind of like that it crawls on that speed. So how do we just not... Let's just add a reset timer. We add a reset timer that's 0. Now, we'll give it maybe 3 seconds once. So instead of doing all the resets right here, we'll say reset timer. That's 3 seconds. And then what we do is we say if reset timer is greater than 0, then we're going to go ahead and decrement. And then we're going to say if reset timer is smaller than 0, then we're going to trigger all our resets. Which okay. And then we're going to reset our reset timer back to 0, which shouldn't decrement. And then as soon as it's positive, it'll decrement. And then as soon as it gets negative, it'll spawn and then reset to 0. Okay, that should be it. So now we're looking for our pterodactyl to be completely off screen before our player 1 comes crawling back on. It should be enough time, that 3 seconds. So let's just see. Okay, here we go, Taro, let's go. 3, 2, 1, Taro. No! No, where's the Taro? I'm not coming back on. Where'd the Taro go? Where'd that Taro go? Right here, we messed up. We were perpetually changing Taro timer because we messed up the smaller than right there. So this is hopefully the right deal. Yeah, I kind of feel like Joust should be lower. Centered in the height, you know. Okay, Taro. 3, 2, 1, Taro. Where are you, homeboy? And why is there a platform on the right side of the screen here? What is that? How did Taro disappear if reset timer is smaller than 0? So if reset timer should be 0 up here, which it is. Taro timer. Let's just print up Taro timer and make sure that's working. Well, it does count down. So why does, if this is not 39, but 2, why doesn't that spawn a Taro? Oh, the Taro! Why is the Taro? That's the Taro, that's not a platform. What is happening? Why did adding a reset timer mess up the Taro existing? Oh, because, well, it's greater. Okay, if Taro timer is positive, we decrement. If it's smaller than, oh, here we go. If it's smaller than 0, we need to kind of, let's just reset the timer here, and then when reset timer hits, it'll reset it again, which is okay. 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 Don't really like that. I don't want any... I want the Taro to always fly left to right, so let's just delete any Taro indexes that are a negative. And then we'll do 1, 2, 3. And then random of the 3. Okay, and then we'll go back to 39. Let's just go back, let's do 3 real quick and just see if it should fly left to right, which it does. It should deinstantiate and reset the timer. Cool. So that should be right. So let's go, oops. Let's go back to 39 and watch. Let's take off that Taro timer just because it's bugging me. I want to move Joust down too. I should have done that already. Okay, let's go tarot. In 3, 2, 1. Cool. Now, third one. Wait. Nice. Perfect. I like that. I like that. Let's make sure the second loop of tarot is seemingly right. And then we'll move joust to be more vertically centered and then call it a day. Here we go. Okay, come on, tarot. We're going to be seeing him in 3, 2, 1. There we go. Cool. I like it. I like it. Okay, let's center joust and call it a day. So what we'll do is kind of clean up some of this. Here we go, the joust and the players. Okay. Yeah, let's just do this step by two again. Nope. Cool. It should be a little higher. Yeah, it should be a bit higher. What do we do? We want it to be a little higher all around the board. So we can, let's just get the joust yellow part to be the wide we want it to be, which is maybe another 25 pixels up. If that's good. That's a little too high. Maybe 20. Yeah. Yeah, like a little higher than dead center. Give it a little bit of space. So let's do a -20 on everything and make sure that looks okay, and then we can just simplify all that math so it doesn't look so stupid. Nice. Yeah, that's looking good. It's kind of centered in between. Well, yeah, maybe a little bit higher. A little bit higher. A little bit higher. So let's do 30. Oh, too high, too high. Well, actually, yeah, by the time they're running on, it looks centered. Ugh, no. I don't know what I don't like about it. I think a bit higher. This is why you're supposed to do low cost centers, so you don't have to keep doing that. I think I like that. Yeah. Because by the time that's flashing and those guys are on, it looks kind of centered in the center there. Okay. And we'll see how it looks with the tarot flying on, so we'll see that. Yeah, Let's see what it looks like with the Terrafline on, and then we might be done. Well, then we have to make sure the game is working again, because we could have broken stuff by updating the. Nice. That's awesome. Cool. Let's make sure we didn't break it. Cool. Nice. Oh! Okay. We got it. I'm happy with that. Is there anything that makes sense to reorganize this before we commit? I don't know. Looks pretty good to me, other than that. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Just make sure we're happy with the placement. It looks a little top heavy until the other stuff starts blinking, and then it looks right. So I like it. Cool. Let us just take a look at our get diff for the day, because we actually did quite a bit. Let's not do this in Linux, though. Or not in Novem. Okay. So we've got track mode attributes for our ostrich class, looping only if not in a track mode. We've also got the same thing for our vulture class. And then we've got a couple of constants. We're setting the volume based on attract mode or not. And then we've got our true help toggle that pauses the game now, so that's like a lot of get diff in there. Because we shifted almost every line of code, or we did, in the play state basically. So that's a lot of code that was different, even though it was just like one little toggle. That's going to hide a lot of the changes that we did. But what are the other things? We did all the spawns for our timers for our attract mode. So we just did our pause mode and attract mode, but the commit is pretty insane. So yeah, our git commit looks wild. But we'll commit the message saying added pause mode and attract mode. Cool. We'll get pushed and we'll see you guys tomorrow for another episode. I think I'm gonna be recording the extra sound effects we need, like the spawning, death, the pterodactyl, recording all of those so that I can import them and implement those sounds, because that's basically like the last thing. The sounds and then a couple other nitpicky stuff. I mean, we gotta reset the game once it's game over with an enter select to reset all that stuff. And then I don't know. We'll see what we have to do after that, but thanks for watching and I'll catch you tomorrow.